Welcome to the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. CBS Sports proudly presents the Los Angeles Rams versus the New Orleans Saints. Hi, everybody. I'm Vince Scully, along with Alex Hawkins. Welcome to the great indoors of Louisiana, and welcome to what should be another big act for the Rams, or will it?
Well, the Rams got it all together last Monday night, and they look like the team that everybody thought they were going to be at the start of the season. The Saints at home, though, are extremely tough. They've beaten the Rams here 3 times in Louisiana.
Pat Hayden, of course, has been the golden boy for the Rams. Among other things, he had a rather imaginative evening calling against Minnesota, and it certainly paid off.
Well, they threw 2 touchdown passes, ran one himself, and like you say, they've been getting field goals in those situations. They finally got together and put in touchdowns last week.
And the old story is, in sports, never mind yesterday, what have you done for me lately? And the Saints are coming off an explosive day, but a losing one against the Cardinals, the biggest day in Bobby Scott's life.
Passed for over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he can lead this team. Archie Manning got hurt in the Ram game, will not be playing in today's game. Ben, take it over.
Okay, Alex. And right now, as you can see, the Rams and the New Orleans Saints, this will be the 18th meeting.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Well, the good luck gentlemen coming in after the sign having been made that the Rams won the toss, elect to receive, and so Tom Blanchard and the New Orleans Saints will be on defense immediately. For the Rams, they have won 14 of 17 previous meetings, and all 3 previous defeats in 1971, 72, and again in 74 were here in New Orleans. The Rams coming in here, finally putting it together against Minnesota, and for that matter, their next 4 games, including this one, they figure to win. New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and San Francisco. And for New Orleans, they want to be the spoiler. They had a big afternoon against the Cardinals, but it wasn't quite enough. However, for New Orleans, they are home. The electricity that is New Orleans usually makes this ball club get up. And remember, in the Coliseum, it was a very tough 14-7 Ram victory. So the Rams preparing to receive. Rod Phillips, Jim Jodat start to go back along with Cullen Bryant and Wendell Tyler. And Tom Blanchard. Give way now to Rick Zorro, who will be kicking off for New Orleans. And the deepest man is Wendell Tyler on the 5. And Rick Zorro ready to kick off for New Orleans. All right, Zorro comes to the ball, and here we go. And he kicks it to Tyler on the 6-yard line of Los Angeles. Wendell to the 20. Hit and down at the 22-yard line. Christ was the first man to make contact and bring him down, along with Clarence Chapman, and there'll be a flag on the play. It is a personal foul against the Rams, a clipping penalty. So the ball had been at the 21-yard line as Tyler made the return, and they'll now march it off. So the Rams stacked up immediately on a personal foul clip. Put it at the 6.5, 7-yard line.
Personal foul, clipping number 61 on the run back. First down.
And that would be Rick Saul, who was playing on a sore ankle, Alex, and nevertheless had a sound enough leg to stay in there on the special team.
Took old Rich a long time to break into the lineup. 6 years before he became a starter. He's not about to let something like an ankle bother him.
First and 10 on the 7-yard line. McCutcheon and Capoletti are the running backs. Billy Waddy is wide left. Harold Jackson wide right. And McCutcheon carries it out across the 10-yard line. Joe Federspiel, who normally leads New Orleans in tackles, is right there at the bottom, number 58. Here's the Ram offensive line. Franson, Mack, Saul, Hara, and Williams. The fellas who figure to handle the ball, Harold Jackson, along with Billy Waddy and the tight end, Terry Nelson. In the backfield, Pat Hayden and his running backs, Lawrence McCutcheon and John Capoletti. 2nd and 6 from the 11-yard line. Waddy is left and Jackson is right. McCutcheon trying to follow Capoletti's block, and Federspiel not only knocked him down, got the ball.
That's what you get when you come to New Orleans, buddy. You hear the fans respond. Take a look at it from the end zone here, and let's see where the ball comes loose. Federspiel having an outstanding year, that middle linebacker position. Puts a good hit there. You see the ball come loose. I believe that's Chuck Crisp being on it then, number 44 for the Saints.
So it is a tremendous opening break for the New Orleans Saints on that fumble by McCutcheon. And listen to this crowd exhorting Bobby Scott, the backup quarterback to Archie Manning. He sends Gilliam wide left. He has Don Herman wide right. And in motion is the tight end Henry Childs. And across the 5 is Strawn down to the 4-yard line as Mike Strawn, a 3-year man out of Iowa State, playing for the injured Chuck Muncie, carries down to the 3.
You see the formation that Hank Stram will be going with a lot, moving that tight end in motion there. Saint offensive line, not known for its blocking, completely cleared away there that time. Mike Strawn is not a bad football player, Ben. He's filling in.
We will see right now, Alex. It is 2nd and 4. The ball spotted on the 5-yard line. Gilliam wide left. In motion comes Herman, a zoom towards the tight side. Second man is Strawn, but Bill Simpson came up to hit him behind the line of scrimmage. Good play by Huckleberry Finn.
Probably one of the most underrated Ram defensive players. You hear a lot more about Dave Elmendorf, but when you're talking to the opposing coaches, they tell you that Bill Simpson is one of the top safety men in football.
Simpson had 4 intercepts last year. He has 1 thus far this year. The Rams started to come alive 2 weeks ago against New Orleans. 3rd and 5. Out of the eye, and the deep man is Strawn. Play action fake. Scott going in the end zone and overshoots his man. In fact, he had a trio of Gilliam, Herman, along with Galbraith, all in the end zone.
I don't know whether he was trying to hit Don Herman on that play or not, but he couldn't get back outside. It was a good play on the corner by Pat Thomas. There you see Pat Thomas, number 27 right there. Good coverage over there by Dave Elmendorf. Not sure about the pattern. I think it was a broken one, Ben.
Well, Rick Zarro will come in now and ask to kick a field goal. He is 2 for 4 this year. He is 2 for 2, however, inside the 29-yard line. His longest was 29. Tom Blanchard, the holder. They spot the ball on their 13, so it's a 23-yard field goal attempt. It's up. It's good. And the New Orleans Saints go marching through with the 3 points on the scoreboard. 12 minutes and 53 seconds left to go in the first quarter. So the Saints capitalizing on the McCutcheon fumble, and they're on the boards 3-0. And boy, a fired up crowd here in the Superdome in New Orleans, trying to exhort the Saints, who are 1-5.
Introducing the Ford in your future, the new Ford Fairmont. A new car designed for today and the years ahead. Fairmont's mileage ratings are the same as a little VW Rapid when both are equipped with automatic transmission. And this Fairmont, as shown, is actually sticker price less than this Rapid. Yet Fairmont has 90% of the head, leg, and shoulder room of most large cars. Fairmont, roomy but with mileage like a small car, and the lowest sticker price in its class. Test drive Fairmont, the newest, better idea from Ford.
The Quintrix 2-color picture tube from Panasonic brings you a very lifelike picture. Because Quintrix 2 is our inline picture tube with an extra pre-focus lens that concentrates and focuses the electron beam to bring you Panasonic's sharpest picture ever. So lifelike, you may even feel you're part of the picture. Quintrix 2, one more reason Panasonic is just slightly ahead of our time.
The Saints are applauding because on that return, it looks like another personal foul against the Rams. You remember on the opening kickoff, there was a personal foul against Rick Saul, and the Rams ultimately fumbled. It led to 3 points. Now let's see about this one.
Number 50 on the run back, first down.
Dennis Hara, guilty of the infraction. The kickoff received by Wendell Tyler, but on that personal foul play, the Rams are penalized, so they've had the ball, and they've had 2 big personal foul calls. So they'll put it in play, 1st and 10 from their own 13-yard line. 3-0 New Orleans. Waddy is left and Jackson is right. McCutcheon, the deep man on the eye, back of Capoletti. McCutcheon. And he gets it out to the 15-yard line at best. Lawrence McCutcheon, the number 2 NFC rusher. He's been averaging 4 yards, his longest this year, 20. And he's rushed for 4 touchdowns. He's also caught a touchdown pass, and he is gaining on Dick Bass's record.
What does he need, about 600 yards to pass Bass?
Yeah, he started with 126 2 weeks ago, so he needs 178 for 5,000, and Bass had over 5,400. 2nd and 8. With the back split, Hayden going to release to Capoletti, and he drops it. And there'll be another flag on the play, so hold everything. Preliminary signal against the Rams. Derlin Moore putting a lot of heat on Pat Hayden. We'll get the call in a moment.
Derlin Moore is not the kind of athlete you hear a lot about, but he's a good, steady player and a bona fide NFL player. He is a pro.
He led the Saints last year in tackles for linemen with 94.
Holding, number 60, offense, decline, 3rd down.
So they'll take the down instead of the yardage. The penalty was against Dennis Hara.
Oh, and that's a big game over there. Minnesota and Atlanta. Fran Tarkenton, they got him on the board with a 54-yard scoring pass to Sammy White.
3rd and 8 from the Ram 15-yard line. And we'll see what Hayden does. Waddy goes right to the first time, and Jackson left. The tight end, Nelson, on the right side. McCutcheon trying to follow Capoletti and got it just shy of the 20-yard line. So Capoletti unable to open that big hole for him, and the Rams will have to kick it away. Joe Federspiel, along with Clarence Chapman, making the tackle. So the Rams stymied the first time on a fumble, this time stymied as they lost it down on a personal foul, and so Glenn Walker will have to punt. The Rams, by the way, along with St. Louis, are tied in the best punt coverage. They average only 4 yards a return. Rick Mauti standing all alone on the New Orleans 35-yard line. So Walker trying to hang it, and that's just what he's done, and a fair catch by Mauti on his 45-yard line. New Orleans in excellent field position, 1st and 10 from their own 45. So far, the Ram fumble, the recovery by New Orleans, and a field goal by Rick Zorro, and there's the story. New Orleans 3 and Los Angeles nothing.
Come on, Adam, come on. We're getting our picture taken.
Special moments, times of your life you'll want to remember in pictures.
Smile, Howard. Smile.
To help make those pictures look as good as they can, make sure Kodak paper is behind them. If you don't see these words, it isn't Kodak paper. Just look for this sign when you get your pictures. Kodak paper, for a good look at the times of your life.
See, wasn't that fun?
Will the insurance fix our chimney?
Sure, after we plow through the paperwork.
It's different with Allstate.
What's different?
We have the world's largest team of claims specialists.
Don't worry about a thing.
They settle most claims like this without estimates.
No problem.
Allstate specialists are interested in you, not paperwork.
I'll call the contractor today.
Oh.
That was easy.
When it takes being different to be better, Allstate will do it.
That's a promise from us, the Good Hands people.
New Orleans under the direction of Bobby Scott, putting it in play 1st and 10 from their own 45. Scott has made 14 previous starts in the NFC, and he has won 3 of the 14. In motion goes Gilliam now to the right, and Scott's going to put it up. Intended down the left side for Don Herman, covered by Pat Thomas, and the pass broken up.
Pat Thomas with a big game the other night in that Minnesota game, came up with his first 2 interceptions. Both of them resulted in touchdowns for the Rams.
Alex, we were watching John Gilliam. He was in the stack of that eye and suddenly in motion, so Hank is going to throw a playbook at the Rams.
Hank's going to do that. He believes in mixing it up on offense. There's Washington over Philadelphia 17-10. Washington needing a win.
So it is 2nd and 10 for New Orleans on their own 45-yard line. Gilliam is left and Herman is right. In motion now the tight end Henry Childs to block for Mike Strong. And Strong to midfield and into Ram territory. Not enough for the first down. He's finally brought down by Bob Brzezinski and Bill Simpson.
Well, Brzezinski is being a rookie, and they're trying to work on him a little bit because they think play action hurts him on passes, and they can run at him a little bit. And they've got Pat Thomas. He hasn't had much experience over there either. Mike Strawn, as I told you, he's not a bad, he was the Saints' leading rusher a few years ago, and he is a good football player. Not in the class of Muncie, but then Muncie's got a bad ankle, and we don't know how much he will play today.
Herman is right, and Gilliam is left. 3rd and 3. The ball just on the 49-yard line of the Rams, and Scott sending it up again. Down the right side and complete to Herman for a first down. He's knocked out of bounds by Pat Thomas at the 41-yard line of Los Angeles.
You're looking at Don Herman there. Don Herman came over from the Giants as a free agent, I guess. Bobby Scott with almost flawless protection there. Look at Herman. Runs a very disciplined route. Not much speed, but as you see, coming back to the sideline, coming back to the quarterback.
New Orleans leading 3-0. We have 10:28 to go in the first quarter. Gilliam wide left and Herman right. The backs are Galbraith, and the deep man is Mike Strawn, playing for the injured Chuck Muncie. A draw, and it's Galbraith across the 40 down to the Ram 38-yard line. Larry Brooks and Jack Youngblood in on the tackle.
Hank Stram believes in mixing it up, brother, giving you different formations. You see a pass one play, and then a little draw off of it. They know they've got to keep that front line of the Los Angeles Rams a little bit off balance.
2nd down and 7 for New Orleans. 10 minutes to go in the first quarter, and the Saints are leading 3-0. Backs are split. They usually pass out of this kind of a formation. Bobby Scott going out quickly to Herman. He's got it. And 3 Rams bring him down, and he fumbled, but the referee shaking his head. It was after the whistle. Bill Simpson picked it up, but it doesn't count.
Oh, that was close, Ben. That was close. You be the judge on this one. Just a quick turnout pattern. They're not getting greedy. Look at her. Poor Don Herman just doesn't have the speed for that kind of pass. Ball comes loose, and we can't hear the whistle, so we don't know, but it was a marginal call.
So that would be the second break for New Orleans today. 3rd down and 2 yards to go. The ball just on the 33-yard line of the Rams. 3-0 New Orleans. 9.5 to go in the first quarter. Herman wide right. Gilliam left. Galbraith and Strawn with the back split. Scott going to put it up again, and this time going deep in the end zone. No good. And it was intended for the tight end, Henry Childs. Elmendorf and Simpson, like a pair of movable bookends, went right down there with him.
They've been going to the tight ends a lot, mainly because the Saints have had the completely depleted receiver corps this year. They've lost 3 receivers of the top receivers, and they're going with free agents. Picked up John Gilliam on waivers and picked up Don Herman last year on waivers from the Giants.
Yeah, they lost Tinker Owens, Larry Burton, and Joel Parker, 3 wide receivers. They also lost a cornerback, Maurice Spencer. So they're hurting, but doing the best they can. Rick Zorro, who kicked one a few moments ago, is going to try another one. They will spot it on the 40. So he's going to attempt a real bomb. 50-yard field goal attempt by Rick Zorro. Not enough. Not enough at all. So the Saints gambling that somehow Zorro had the strength to get it that far, but he missed by a good 8 yards. So he did not miss earlier, however. He had a 23-yard field goal, and with 9 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the first quarter. The New Orleans Saints, 3, and the Los Angeles Rams, nada, senor.
We're the Van Arsdales, Tom and Dick. We're identical twins. And we drink identical beers. Light beer from Miller. We love it. The best thing about light beer is it's great filling. Great taste. Less filling. It's got 1/3 less calories than the regular beer. Great taste, Tom. Less filling. And I'm not Tom. You are. I'm Dick. You think you are, but you never were.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less. A rain-slick highway, a skid, and a potentially major accident becomes a minor incident. Thanks to a crash barrier with a shatterproof plastic nose cone, a unique plastic developed and supplied by Phillips Petroleum. Developing new plastics while making fine products for your car. That's performance. From Phillips Petroleum, the performance company.
Sunday, the fun starts at the grand opening of Archie's Tavern as the help walks out and the family fills in for a bubbling highball of hilarity. Sunday at 9, 8th Central and Mountain.
The line of scrimmage on that abortive field goal attempt by Rick Zorro is the 33-yard line, so the Rams will put it in play and take over 1st and 10. New Orleans recovering a fumble by Lawrence McCutcheon, got a 23-yard field goal out of Rick Zorro to take a 3-0 lead. The Rams were stymied the second time they get the ball, so we'll see what they do the third time. Waddy is right, Jackson is left. Nelson, the tight end, on the right side, and Waddy is in motion. Lawrence McCutcheon with Hara out in front of him, and Doug France, and got about 3. Hara and France both trying to clear the way for him, but there were too many people over there.
Oh, Cincinnati out in front of Houston on a blocked punt that Willie Shelby fell on. Puts him up on that 7-0.
Well, 2nd down for the Rams. They moved it from the 33 to the 37, 2nd and 6. The first slot for the Rams today, they put Waddy slot right inside Jackson, and Nelson, the tight end, on the left side. Hayden to McCutcheon. A missed block that time by Tom Mack. However, McCutcheon had already gone by him, but he still has a long way to go for his first down. Mack trying to follow, but those New Orleans players pretty quick. Derlin Moore, Bob Pollard making the tackle, and it was Alex Price who got out of the way of the block by Tom Mack.
There's Cleveland out in front of Kansas City 23-0, and the quarterback for Kansas City would be Tony Adams.
For the Rams, the quarterback is Pat Hayden. It is 3rd and 4 from their own 39. Waddy is right and Jackson left. The backs are split. Both backs go out. And Hayden down the middle, and he's got his tight end, Terry Nelson, and he is decked hard by Clarence Chapman at about the 47-yard line. It's good enough for a first down for Los Angeles.
A young man from Arkadelphia, Arkansas. Been in the shadows of Klein for so many years. This year he's got Charlie Young breathing down his neck, and it's making him a better football player, too. That's his 8th reception for the year. Had a little trouble getting hold of the thing. He's a big old boy on the move, though. Doesn't protect his legs particularly well, though, does he, Ben?
No, he takes a pretty good lick, but at 6'2" and 230, he can take it. 1st and 10 on the Ram 48-yard line. Waddy right and Jackson left. Hayden down the middle, off the hands of Billy Waddy at the 35-yard line. A little too high for him, and Waddy, who, by the way, is only 5'11", so it was a good foot over his head.
Great thing about having a guy like Harold Jackson clearing out that area with that tremendous speed. You see nobody in that area. You see Jackson has cleared it out. It's a little bit high and a little bit behind him, but it was a catchable ball for Billy Waddy.
Billy Waddy, one of the truly exciting, flashy players on the Rams, and they're not known for that type of attack. Both Waddy and Wendell Tyler got a lot of ink in the aftermath of the Minnesota victory.
The Jets in New England 10-10 there at halftime.
2nd and 10 from the Ram 48. Waddy right and Jackson left. A draw to Capoletti. Pollard couldn't hold him, but down he goes right at midfield. Bob Pollard, number 82, had him as soon as he got the ball, but he slithered out of Pollard's grasp.
Capoletti in the last 2 weeks has really come on. In fact, he's starting this season. He gets stronger with every game. Bob Pollard is a good football player, one of the real few exceptional football players on the defensive line of the Saints.
So Pollard slowed him up, and Federspiel was able to make the hit.
San Diego over 7-6 over Miami, but that game's not over.
The ball on the New Orleans 49, 3rd and 7. Hayden going to Capoletti to the 40. And belted by Ernie Jackson straight up. Oh, did Jackson hit him, but Capoletti is a horse, and he was able to take it.
Capoletti there just flared out. He wasn't the primary receiver. Pat Hayden reading the coverage. He isn't no dummy. You don't be a Rhodes Scholar and be a dummy. Take a look at it. Hayden going down, looking downfield. Sees nobody open immediately. Let's see how quickly he adjusted to that through to Capoletti, who is also a good receiver. Look at a hit by Ernie Jackson. He will stick you. He's got a bandaged left arm. He's playing in considerable pain. That's Ernie Jackson.
Well,
Capoletti is too now. I would say so.
Hayden picked up 13 on that, so it's 1st and 10 on the New Orleans 37. And here comes McCutcheon. And a lot of black shirts meet him at the 35. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New Orleans Saints and the National Football League is prohibited. It'll be 2nd down for the Rams. The ball on the 34-yard line of New Orleans.
Dallas over Detroit 3-0 on a Herrera field goal.
2nd and 7 for Los Angeles. Waddy is left and Jackson right. Passing formation with the back split. Both backs out. Under pressure by Derlin Moore and Alex Price. Hayden runs out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Wise move.
And that's what Pat Hayden can do that Joe Namath can't do, and it adds a dimension to their team. He can scramble out there and get some yards that time. He knows enough to go to the sideline, not get hurt.
It's interesting to note he was pursued by Alex Price, who is 260, and Derlin Moore, who is 260. Two very big men, and they ran exceptionally well in chasing him.
There's the Ram bench and Joe Willie Namath, Charlie Young. That's a lot of good football players to sit on the sideline, isn't it?
Charles Young now coming as a tight end with a 3rd and 2. So Young on the left side, Nelson on the right, and Cullen Bryant is a wide receiver to the right. Capoletti trying to run inside a McCutcheon block, and he does, and gets his first down. Lawrence McCutcheon blocking for John Capoletti, with Myers and Merlo making the tackle.
And we'll watch Charlie Young, number 86, directly in your picture. He's trying to turn his man inside. That he got overpowered, but he got his job done there. Capoletti, he is excellent at finding holes. A good, intelligent runner.
1st and 10 for the Rams. The ball on the New Orleans 22-yard line. Jackson is left and Waddy is right. McCutcheon and Capoletti are the backs. Play action fake, and Hayden looking and releases to McCutcheon over his head, and it was almost picked off by number 57, Jim Merlo, who came racing up from that left linebacker spot and just missed it.
Alex Price was not fooled that time. He read screen all the way and got out there in the flow of things. Pat Hayden very wisely threw it away.
You have to watch Merlo. This year he intercepted one against Detroit and ran 57 yards for a touchdown. He went to Stanford, and the people out on the coast certainly know him.
Washington going up 20-10 over Philadelphia.
2nd and 10 on the 22. Slot left. Waddy inside Jackson. Terry Nelson, the tight end. McCutcheon, the deep man out of the eye. McCutcheon following Capoletti. Dragged down from behind by Bob Pollard. Pollard is another alert man up front for the Saints. He recovered a fumble against Chicago and ran at 52 yards for a touchdown. In fact, the New Orleans Saint defense has scored 3 times on an intercepted return by Merlo, on a fumble recovery and run by Pollard, and on a block punt in the end zone by Meyer against Detroit.
Oh, boy, Ben.
3rd and 7 from the 18. Waddy in a slot right. Hayden getting protection, chased by Price. In the end zone, touchdown. All alone is Harold Jackson. Tom Myers, all he could do is push him.
All the time in the world by Pat Hayden that time. The Saints have not had a good pass rush all year, only 11 sacks. Look at it right here. A week and a half to throw. There you see Alec Price with what little rush there is there. You can't let guys like Harold Jackson and Billy Waddy wait around in your secondary like that. Throwing on the run to his left, as he did the other night in the Monday night game, with some degree of accuracy, Harold Jackson.
So the Rams go 67 yards in 12 plays, capping it on that pass play from Hayden to Harold Jackson. Raphael Septien, who had been cut by New Orleans, has kicked 15 straight. Point after.
Raphael.
El Hombre, numero uno, has gotten it through, and the Rams have taken a lead. 3 minutes and 28 seconds left to go in the first quarter. The Rams 7, the New Orleans Saints 3.
Who is the #1 investment firm in the East? Who is the #1 investment firm in the Midwest? Who is the #1 investment firm in the South? Who is the #1 investment firm in the West? You know who. Merrill Lynch. All around America, more investors turn to Merrill Lynch than any other investment firm. Sure, there are lots of investment firms, but there's only one Merrill Lynch.
Take me away, lover. I'm yours. I don't go with married women. What are you doing? You're not Granada.
Renata, this is my Mercedes.
Hold tight. Didn't get into my Cadillac.
Cadillac, that's the Renata. Alone at last, beloved.
Beloved,
Where's my bride?
you got that Mercedes with another man.
Another man?
The new Ford Granada. One way to tell it from Cadillac or Mercedes is its sticker price. When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
Hi, once again, everybody. Vin Scully along with Alex Hawkins. Welcome to the Superdome in New Orleans. The Rams have scored to lead 7-3. Rafael Septien kicking deep, and it'll be Willis taking it on his 6-yard line. The wedge bringing him up the right side. Jim Jodat chasing him along with Jackie Wallace, and Jodat and Wallace drive him out. Good play.
Oh, good coverage there. That's Tom Myers, who's been troubled with bad leg, bad arm, bad ankle throughout his career. One of the real fine players in that secondary, calls their defensive signals, but he came into today's game hurt, and he further injured himself.
And his pride was injured too as Harold Jackson beat him in the end zone. That was a 9-yard return for New Orleans, and they'll put the ball in play 1st and 10 from their own 15-yard line. Herman is right and Gilliam left. And the tight end Childs on the left side. Galbraith out across the 20-yard line. A pretty good run for Tony, whom they call Thunder. Take a look at the black shirts trying to clear the way for him.
Manuel Zanders and Don Morrison, both of them veteran players for the Saints. Good job persistently. They're attacking Brzezinski, running at Pat Thomas, having some success on that right side. That Galbraith is one heck of a football player. You'll enjoy watching him, people.
Second-year man out of Missouri is Tony Galbraith. 2nd and 3 from the 22. We have not seen Chuck Muncie today, not yet. A lot of movement up front as Galbraith drags it out to the 25-yard line. And that'll be very close to a 1st down. Cody Jones was there. Cody playing in Merlin Olson's old spot. And I guess he's reminded about that at least once every game.
Wouldn't you know it? Boy, Merlin did play that position so well for so many years there. So durable and so valuable to the Rams.
We mentioned a moment ago we had not seen Chuck Muncie. He has a sore ankle. Muncie coming off a big game last week where he rushed for 126 yards, but he's hurting and so far has not made an appearance.
He's doing better than the Saints are this year. The Saints are 1-5 coming into today's game. Muncie's 2 for 4 on making planes for road trips.
Not bad, every other flight.
But what do you do with a guy, though, that doesn't make the road trip, finally gets there after bed check, and then rushes for over 100 yards?
And they tell me he doesn't like to practice and rarely comes out to practice the first couple of days.
You've got it.
There's a frustrated ball player.
Yes, sir. A lot of years and a lot of injuries.
Archie Manning looking on. 1st and 10 on the New Orleans 25. Mike Strawn around the left side. And he's shy of the 30-yard line. The man leading the play, big double sevens, pulled for him, but it didn't help that much as Marv Montgomery, who played his football at SC, there's a man trying to open up the door.
That's another free agent they've got in there for spot duty. Well, he's a starter, but Marv was #1 draft choice of the Denver Broncos about 7 years ago. Played there for a while, had some knee problems, decided not to call it quits.
He not only had a knee problem, he broke his leg. Bobby Scott going to the right side and completes it to Mike Strawn, who is knocked out of bounds, and that's enough for a 1st down. Bob Brzezinski, and you mentioned, Alex, they figured to work on him, and it was Brzezinski who knocked him out of bounds.
Well, he was a #1 draft choice and a good football player. He's really come on fast. They tell me he's one of the most intelligent players I've ever seen on defense with the Rams. But he is young, and he still makes some mistakes, particularly on play action. He wants to commit himself.
You know, 2 weeks ago, the Rams did not have a sack until they played New Orleans. They come into this game with 11. That pales by comparison to the 45 they had last year. Here comes Galbraith and gets to the 45. A good bit of run by Tony Galbraith, and we'll watch Bob Brzezinski.
They want to see if they can run at Freddie Dryer. They're having a little bit of luck at it. Not getting outside, and he's coming on back. Here's Brzezinski. That's a good thing about youth, though. You feel like chasing those plays to the other side. And, well, he did.
The Rams expect Brzezinski, a 1st-round draft choice out of Ohio State, to be a great one. Herman is right and Gilliam is left. Second man, Mike Strawn. Out across midfield and another first down. Bill Simpson had to come up along with Dave Elmendorf, or Strawn is out of sight.
Watch number 79, Emmanuel Zanders. Lower right-hand side of your picture there. Ride Cody Jones to the outside. John Hill with the Saints center, making an excellent block himself.
And on that play, that's the end of the first quarter with the score. The Los Angeles Rams 7 and the New Orleans Saints 3.
Keep on doing that till I get it right. Yeah, I work hard and I play hard, and I use new STP gas treatment. You just pump it in your tank and it goes to work cleaning your carburetor. I take good care of my wheels on account of I'm cheap. I bet you are too. Try it.
This is one of the program cartridges you snap into new Telstar Arcade, the three-way microprocessor console. Start with this roaring road race. Gun the throttle. Faster. A crash. Score. Next turn to tennis for more video action. A new challenge. Quick draw with electronic pistol for target shooting.
Got him.
All games in full color. Other cartridges available with different programs. So hitch your TV to a Telstar. Telstar Arcade by Coleco.
Stop off at our Goodrich dealer, Stanley. We must have the radial tires rotated.
Have them what? Rotated, sir. Put the front ones in the back and the back ones in the front. Move them, sir, so they'll wear more evenly.
The Goodrich dealer says they'll last longer.
How ingenious. No wonder those clever Goodrich people made that marvelous blimp.
Stanley, do you ever wonder why you're up there and he's back here?
Tires you can trust. B.F. Goodrich. The other guys.
The start of the second quarter here at the Superdome in Los Angeles, leading 7-3, and the Saints putting it in play first and 10 on the Los Angeles 46-yard line. Bobby Scott, 6-year man out of Tennessee. After a big day, but in a losing cause against St. Louis, trying to upset Los Angeles. Slot left, Herman is inside Gilliam, and they split Henry Childs in a flex on the right side. A pitch back to Mike Strawn. Strawn finally knocked out of bounds, but he picked up another first down.
Big block by Tony Galbraith. Tony Galbraith, he does it all for the Saints. One of the leading receivers for him. Can rush the football. Watch number 34. Does the job so well. Mike Strawn getting along the sideline and walking it down for a while. Does not seem to want to go down at all. Who is that? Bill Simpson.
Right. The first and 10 on the Ram 32-yard line. They picked up 14 yards on the carry. It is 7-3 Los Angeles, just the start of the second quarter. Tony Galbraith, but there was a lot of movement, and the penalty might very well go against the Rams as Galbraith carries it across the 25.
Who have we got? Jack Runt. Is that Jack Youngblood jumping off sides there? Let me see if it's 85 here.
There you go.
Oh, he's got an inside move on right there. I didn't see any movement by the Saints, but we'll see.
And it will be against New Orleans for drawing Youngblood off, evidently. Despite Bobby Scott's arguings, they fall on deaf ears.
Take a look and see if we can see any movement there. See if we see the Saint movement. No, looks like dogs pointing to me. Yeah, it could have been with the center or somebody on the offside.
Number 85, defense. Holding, number 62, offense. Offset, first down.
Aha, that's the explanation.
So we have offsetting penalties, and that's the answer to that play.
We just got a report on Tommy Meyer's condition. He strained his knee, and it is questionable if he'll be returned to action today.
First and 10 from the 32 of Los Angeles. 7-3 Rams. Here comes Galbraith to the 25-yard line. Bill Simpson dragging him down before the big guy gets to the 20-yard line. When you look at the running backs of New Orleans, you realize why they drag people around. Galbraith is an even 6, 232 pounds. And Hank Stram, the head coach of New Orleans, he likes him big.
That's his young hairpiece he's got on there. He's got 500 suits, 200 pair of shoes, and at least 50 different hairpieces.
One good thing, it doesn't turn gray. 1st and 10 on the Los Angeles 20-yard line as Galbraith carries for the first down. Gilliam is left, Herman is right, and it's Strawn and Galbraith back of Bobby Scott. Here comes Galbraith trying to go outside, and he's to the 15-yard line and drags a crowd of Rams with him. The first man to make contact was Bill Simpson, number 48.
I'll tell you what you're seeing those receivers of the Saints doing an excellent job blocking downfield. They've been able to bounce outside, and the corners and the safety haven't been able to make a tackle immediately.
We were talking about Galbraith's weight at 232. Muncie is 238. They have two rookie tackles. Dave Lafari is 6'7", 280. Dave Hubbard is 6'7", 270. So Hank Stram has some giants down here in the Bayou country. 2nd and 3 from the 13-yard line. Galbraith. And he is stacked up as he tried desperately to get to the 10-yard line, and the Rams stiffened.
And that score you saw flashed up there, Cleveland over Kansas City, 30-0. That last score coming on a 1-yard run by Mike Pruitt.
The Ram defense is allowing only 101 yards a game. They are number 1 against the rush in the conference, number 4 overall defensively.
Cincinnati over Houston, 10-zip.
So it's 3rd and 1, a big play now. Childs and Thaxton, the two tight ends are in there, but the backs are split. So we'll see if he passes. Nope, and a great play by Bill Simpson and Dave Elmendorf. And Elmendorf is the one who got his hand up and brought him down. Elmendorf, lying on the 15-yard line, got a piece of the shoe.
That's Elmendorf there, tripping him up. He was in the first game 2 weeks ago between these two teams. He came out, he figured in on 13 tackles, 9 unassisted and 4 assists.
The crowd is hollering, go for it, and Kim Jones is coming in, not Rick Zarro. So 7-3 Rams, and New Orleans will go for it, 4th and 1, and the ball is just inside the Ram 12-yard line. Jones is the short man, drawn back of him out of the eye. And it'll be Strawn, and he's carrying inside the 5. Mike Strawn battling his way for the first down. It'll be 1st and goal.
Well, on the replay, you might see the block of number 85, Henry Childs, top of your screen, doing just an excellent job on Brudzinski. Clearing the way, Emmanuel Sanders out there in front. Look at the determination there. Oh, the Saints came to play it today.
And it is 1st and goal on the Ram 3, and here's another look.
Ground level, let's take a look at it. Bill Simpson giving some pursuit here, taking a wrong angle, missed him altogether as he bounced outside. Manuel doesn't know which way to go. Didn't expect that much mileage out of it.
And a roar comes up from the crowd. Chuck Muncie on a 1st and goal from the 3 is in there now with Tony Galbraith. And it'll be Muncie with Galbraith out in front. He did not make the end zone, but he's going to be close. Muncie's first carry of the day, and it would appear he got it to the Ram 1-yard line, so it'll be 2nd and goal from the 1. Youngblood and Simpson finally stacking him up.
Rich Balti out in front of that, number 84 for the Saints. You don't see him in there too often. He's a rookie, free agent from Penn State.
So 2nd and goal, the ball inside the Ram 1-yard line. The Rams are leading 7-3. Muncie and Galbraith. Back of Bobby Scott. Galbraith! Touchdown! Tony Galbraith, who among other things plays the bass fiddle, and he sure hit a sweet note that time.
Plays the bass fiddle?
Yeah.
Let's watch him go over the top here. He was the number 2 draft choice for the Saints last year. Tommy Protro said together he and Muncie are the 2 best backs in football as a tandem.
So the Saints have taken a lead for the 2nd time, 9-7. Rick Zarro out of a hole by Tom Blanchard. Zarro is 15 out of 16. Left-footed soccer kicker. It is good. The New Orleans Saints are marching down South Rampart Street. The Saints on a field goal and a touchdown by Tony Galbraith, leading the Rams 10-7.
Who has over 5,000 stores nationally with people trained to know their auto parts? Where can you get overnight delivery on almost any part? And who also offers parts and supplies for your tractor, boat, motorcycle, or lawnmower? Now, who should you see for quality parts? NAPA, that's N-A-P-A. We help keep America moving.
Homeward bound, coast of New England.
You got 6'2" feet.
The Navy. See a recruiter or call toll-free. It's not just a job, it's an adventure.
With 10 minutes and 25 seconds left to go in the second quarter, the New Orleans Saints surprising the Los Angeles Rams and leading 10-7. Rick Zorro ready to kick off. The deep man is Wendell Tyler, Jim Jodat on his right, Cullen Bryant on his left, and the kick goes deep over Bryant's head and into the end zone, and he will not take it out. Wisely, Wendell Tyler downing the ball in the end zone. Say, we've got some news for you. On Saturday, November the 5th, it is Championship Saturday. The Series Championship of Women's Tennis. Chris Everett, Virginia Wade, Billie Jean King, Martina Navratilova, and Betistova. From Mission Hills, there'll be the World Middleweight Boxing Championship. Rodrigo Valdez and Benny Briscoe. We'll also have the 26th running of the 1.5-mile race course at Laurel. That's all coming up on Championship Saturday. Plus the world's strongest man. First and 10 from the Ram 20. Waddy is in motion, and that's McCutcheon with Hara out in front of him. And Hara was just outnumbered. Price and Ernie Jackson coming up to make the tackle.
Boy, those Rams, they just run and run and run. They believe in it. Chuck Knox believes in it. It'd be almost impossible for him to convert over. He believes so strongly in a strong running game.
2 weeks ago, they ran the ball 61 times against New Orleans. 2nd and 6 from the 24 of Los Angeles. Waddy is right. Jackson left. Nelson, the tight end, right side. And it's a quick release to Harold Jackson, and Clarence Chapman knocks him out of bounds immediately at the 33-yard line.
The surprising thing about Harold Jackson this year is he usually averages about 17, 18 yards per catch. He's been coming in something like about 12 yards per catch this year because of patterns just like that.
Yeah, his longest is 37 this year.
New England over the Jets, 17-10. Jets a surprising team this year. Got them going. Richard Todd's got them.
1st and 10 for the Rams. They spotted on the 33-yard line. Waddy left and Jackson right. Still Capoletti and McCutcheon. McCutcheon nowhere. Billy Waddy, who was wide left, was trying to come back in and get a block off and seal off the right side, but it didn't work. Pat Hughes came up to make the tackle.
Let's take a look at Bill Waddy right here. He got a would-be crackback block that time, but couldn't make up his mind who he was going to get. He just kind of hid in behind there. Don't see me on the film when I don't make my block.
So far in the Ram rushing game, McCutcheon carried 10 times for 27 yards. So it is 2nd and 10 from the 33. And Waddy in the slot left with Jackson. They motion him, and Jackson picks him up. Here comes McCutcheon. Hara trying to block. And Bob Collard puts his arms around him and drives into the turf. Big Bob, 6'3", 250. 7-year man out of Weber State. He's the defensive captain.
Dennis Hara, he was the #1 draft choice along with Mike Fultz and Doug France, 2-3 years ago? Well, the Rams have built up their draft choices over the years. And remember, George Allen hadn't been that long since he left the Rams and left them with no draft choices. What a job
really
Carol Rosenblum, Don Klosterman, and his people have done.
3rd and 9 from the Ram 34-yard line. Whoop. That was Alex Price who jumped. Hayden going down the middle to Waddy at midfield, and that's where he's belted. Fumble, but I believe after the whistle, and that's true. It was Chuck Christ who recovered the loose ball, but it was after the whistle. Flag on the play. Alex Price, number 75, I think was guilty of jumping around, and of course the Rams will decline the penalty, and they'll set up shop 1st and 10 just across the midfield stripe.
The Rams have been a pretty good third down team all year. They've converted 45% of going into today's game. Today they're 4 out of 5 on third down situations, and that's plenty good enough. The Saints, on the other hand, they have not been a third down team. They've allowed opposition, our opponents, to convert 58% of their first third downs. Let's go.
Okay.
Enough of that. Yeah, enough of that.
1st and 10 on the New Orleans 49. Waddy in a slot left, and now in motion. Wendell Tyler is in there now. Play action fake to Tyler. All alone is Terry Nelson. He runs over little Ernie Jackson and carries it inside the 15. And Ernie Jackson was hit by a truck by the name of Terry Nelson.
And everybody ran over everybody. Look at the arm. Pat Hayden, never known for a strong arm, is accurate enough. Look at this. Does he punish Ernie? Ernie was hurting and hurting worse now. Rampage. Oh, aren't we having fun? Let's get it on.
Wherever he thinks he is. 1st and 10. They spot the ball on the 14-yard line. Phillips and Tyler in the backfield now, and Waddy in a slot right. Inside Harold Jackson. Hayden giving to Wendell Tyler. And he is dragged down as he tried to get to the 10-yard line. It was Clarence Chapman who came up to make the tackle.
Tom Mack, number 65. Watch him pull and watch him block. Never missed a game for the Rams. 12 years. Been one of the better guards in football. Knocking out Chuck Christ there. That guy puts some incitement in it. Wendell Tyler. He entertained me the other night.
2nd and 8. The ball on the New Orleans 12-yard line. We have 7 minutes to go in the second quarter. New Orleans leading 10-7. Waddy is right and Jackson left. And it's Rod Phillips trying to find a hole, and there isn't any there. He tried to move around Rick Saul, but no matter where he went, Saul's man was taking him there, and that just messed up the play.
As we say, Rich Saul, you all know about him with the 2 brothers he's had playing in professional football. He's been around about 8 years. It took him 6 years to become a starter. He's been a good one for him. Rams have had, through the years, they've had good centers, though.
Big Cullen Bryant comes in now on a 3rd and 9, so it is Bryant and Phillips. Tyler goes out. Harold Jackson and Billy Waddy split on the 13-yard line of New Orleans. And Smith sacked him. Chuck Smith grabs him on the 20-yard line. Oh, what a play.
Well, that was quick. Chuck Smith.
Safety blitz got him. Watch it.
He was never a football player at Penn State. He was a basketball player, and he was quick there. Neither one of the backs could pick him up like a bullet.
So the blitz really pays off. Raphael Septien is now asked to kick a field goal to get the Rams tied. The Saints are leading 10-7. Septien is 6 for 7 in field goal attempts. They will spot the ball on the 26-yard line, so it's a 36-yard field goal attempt.
His longest has been 33 yards.
Nolan Cromwell puts it down, and the kick is good. And so the Rams have tied it up thanks to the field goal from Raphael Septien. 5:49 to go in the second quarter. We got a dandy. The Rams 10, the Saints 10.
The Bell system recognizes that many seemingly unrelated business problems are really communications problems in disguise. So we've provided our account representatives with the skills and equipment they need to take a company's problems and our solutions to them and fit them together into a total communications system. For we firmly believe that in solving problems for companies like yours, the system is the solution.
Hey, Mom! Oh, hiya, Sonny.
Stop sitting around, Mom. Let's take a ride in my new Ford pickup.
All right, let me drive. Oh, I can handle it.
This is the one that's built tough with Ford's exclusive twin I-beam suspension and a new 4-speed overdrive option. And extensive rust-fighting materials on underbody parts.
What you think, Mom?
You may think I'm off my rocker. This Ford is tough.
Of all Ford trucks registered over the last 12 years, 93 out of 100 are still on the job.
Sheer bedlam's all in a day's work when Mama signs on as Rhoda's hired hand.
She is driving me up the walls, across the ceiling, out the window.
Someday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
The Rams and Saints all tied 10-10. Septien kicking off with 5:49 to go in the second quarter. This one not too deep, grabbed by Willis at the 9. To the 25 and stacked up shy of the 30-yard line. A return by Willis. Jim Jodat making the tackle, and now New Orleans takes over 1st and 10. A reminder, Championship Saturday, the series championship of women's tennis. We'll also have the World Middleweight Boxing Championship, Rodrigo Valdez and Benny Briscoe. Plus the 26th running of the Classic from Washington, D.C., the 1.5-mile grass course, the major turf race in the United States, Laurel Race Course, and the 5th event of the world's strongest men, the tire toss for distance and accuracy. The tire toss. 1st and 10 from the Saints' 28. Tony Galbraith wrapped up as he got across the 30-yard line. Jim Youngblood, along with the middle of the Rams, Dave Elmendorf, also Jim Youngblood at the bottom. In case you joined us a little late, New Orleans recovered a Lawrence McCutcheon fumble, and Rick Zorro kicked a 23-yard field goal. Harold Jackson caught an 18-yard touchdown pass from Pat Hayden. Tony Galbraith punched over from the 2-yard line, and then Zorro, there was another 36-yard field goal by Septien to tie it up 10-10. Bobby Scott looking right, gets pressure, got it away, and it's the tight end, Henry Childs, who made the reception just shy of the 45-yard line.
Henry Childs on the play action. Takes to Galbraith there. Pass protection is quite adequate. Scott rolling a little bit. Childs open, just hits the spot. They have been going to the tight ends, as I say, and they will continue to go to the tight ends because of, well, various things. Injuries to the wide receivers and the fact that they're using double on the wide receivers, whatever that is.
1st and 10 from the New Orleans 44-yard line. Gilliam left and Herman right. And here comes Strawn, but he is met by Larry Brooks, and that's the end of the story. They knock him back to the 41-yard line.
There's another player you don't hear a lot about, but he's one of the top tackles in football, is Larry Brooks. He led the Rams in sacks last year with 13, I believe.
That's right. And he has 2 so far this year. The ball on the 43-yard line where they finally spot it. 2nd down, a loss of 1 on the play. 2nd and 11. A 10-10 tie. As you see, 3:56 left to go in the second quarter. Herman is right and Gilliam left. Galbraith and both backs go out. Scott going down the right side to Herman, overshoots his man. Pat Thompson. 5 touchdowns, so that is an integral part of the New Orleans offense. They're looking past now. Jackie Wallace comes in a prevent defense. Bob Brzezinski goes out. 3rd and 11 from the 43. Herman is right and Gilliam left. Strawn and Galbraith back of Scott. And the backs go out. And Scott overshooting his intended receiver, Tony Galbraith, Jim Youngblood, running right alongside of him. So the 3rd and 11 went down the drain, and we'll see Tom Blanchard. It's the first time we have seen a punt by New Orleans. Last year, Tom Blanchard punted 101 times.
Wear out your knee doing that. Wear out your knee. You know, he almost retired, and it might have been for that reason. He was playing more than the offense or the defense.
He had to be
101 punts.
Woo! This year, he's had 6 inside the 20-yard line. And, of course, that really bears a strong part of a kicker's story. Billy Waddy and Cullen Bryant are deep. It is Waddy on the 12-yard line. Oh, New Orleans recovers. Recovered by Pat Hughes. Oh, doctor.
Gracious me. Waddy, so explosive. He will bring you to the edge of your seat. Look at the speed right here. Let's see how loosely he is carrying it. The other night he was. And you see an arm come in there and shake it loose.
Clarence Chapman was the first man to cause him to fumble, and then Craig Cassidy, Hopalong's boy. There's an exhausted Pat Hughes who came over to New Orleans from the New York Giants in a deal. He was the Giants' most valuable player in '74.
Do we have a flag on that one? There's some kind of conversation going on out there. Let's see.
Emmanuel Sanders very much in the discussion. He is the only New Orleans player down there.
As another free agent, Emmanuel Sanders let go by the Dolphins earlier, and Shula called him and said he could play, but he just can't play for the Dolphins. He can play somewhere in football. He's been their most consistent, most outstanding offensive lineman for the Saints the last 3 or 4 years.
Now Bobby Scott wants to get the lowdown along with Jack Youngblood. Billy Waddy, in returning the punt, hit by Clarence Chapman and Craig Cassidy. And if you're old enough to remember Hopalong Cassidy, who played for Ohio State, that's his son playing here for New Orleans today.
Number 73 offense during the dead ball, first down and 25.
So the so-called dead ball foul.
Joe Campbell, that's who the foul's on. Joe has been in a fight every game. This is the 7th time he's caused some commotion. He's a very aggressive #1 draft choice from Maryland.
He backs up Bob Pollard, and on the special teams, he apparently got in an unnecessary lick and was caught for it. So it is 1st and 25 for New Orleans as they take over on the Ram 25, and that's the second costly Ram fumble and recovery for New Orleans. How costly remains to be seen. First man, Tony Galbraith, has his jersey ripped away as he gets down to the 20, and he's 0 for 2 in jerseys.
You tell me he isn't a player, though. I like him. Every play, brother, whether he's blocking or coming out of the backfield or running with a football, he'll give you a fine effort.
Boy, you talk about a tattered and torn. That thing was just decimated.
Looked like he'd been rode hard and hung up wet.
Wow. Kim Jones will take over for him while Galbraith finds another jersey. He has had 2 stripped off the pads. 2nd down and 20. Remember, the personal foul made it 1st and 25. They picked up 5. The ball on the Ram 20-yard line. Backs are split. Scott's going to pass. Right side to Herman. He beat Pat Thomas and caught it inside the 5-yard line.
He'll take about 3 or 4 steps downfield and just break into the goal post. It's a quick post route. There he is. Wait for the linebacker to clear. If it's on the money, which it is, as you see him hit him right in the numbers, it's hard to defend against. Pat Thomas can hardly be faulted for that.
1st and goal for New Orleans on the Ram 3. Tony Galbraith. They're going to run out of uniform number 34. He's burned up 2, and he's now back in there in a brand-new jersey. And the Rams are with their backs against the wall. 2 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter. 1st and goal from the 3. Herman right, Gilliam left. Out of the eye, and there'll be a timeout with the 2-minute warning on the scoreboard. It's been a great first half. A lot to go. The Saints 10 and the Rams 10 with New Orleans driving.
I control this television network. I control the other networks, too. I pick the shows, and I pick the times. With the new Zenith video cassette recorder, I can tape anything on TV and watch it anytime I want. I can watch one show and tape another, or tape shows when I'm out. With the new Zenith video cassette recorder, I make the TV schedule fit my schedule.
Zenith. Now that great name in TV brings you another great way to enjoy it.
We'd like to tell you the cold, hard facts about another kind of motor oil. An oil that will give the average car up to 10 extra miles per tank full of gas. A synthetic engine lubricant that can also help a properly maintained car get started at 35 below zero. Mobil One, the oil that saves you gas and turns over at 35 below.
A 10-10 tie with 2 minutes left to go in the 2nd quarter. Vin Scully along with Alex Hawkins from the great indoors of Louisiana, the Superdome. 2 very costly Ram fumbles. One by Lawrence McCutcheon led to a New Orleans field goal. Now a 2nd fumble on a punt by Billy Waddy, recovered by New Orleans, and on a great pass to Don Herman. New Orleans in great position to take the lead as they go back into the clubhouse.
Well, so Ben, when you come here to Louisiana to play in the Dome or wherever you're playing down here, you expect the Saints to give you a good ball club. They get 50, 60,000 people, sometimes 70,000. these crazy Cajuns hollering and hooping it up, they respond to them.
They're hooping and hollering now. Chuck Muncie is back in there, going in for Mike Strawn. So you have Muncie and Galbraith, as they call him down here, the Thunder and Lightning backfield. Muncie is the Lightning. Herman goes wide right, and Gilliam left. Third down and goal to go from the 3. The backs are split. The Rams will be looking pass. Scott lays it up and overshoots Herman. He and Pat Thomas were squared away down in the far corner.
Herman looked a little bit confused that time as to whether to go straight down the field or break it to the sideline. There was some confusion.
Here comes Tom Blanchard and Rick Zorro, so they're going to go for 3 points. The only surprise in looking back over New Orleans games, as we mentioned to you, they have thrown 5 touchdown passes to the tight end. But this time they went to the wide receiver, Don Herman, and they couldn't do it. For Rick Zorro, remember, he made a 23-yard field goal, and he missed one from the 50. And look out, it's Blanchard passing in the end zone. Alois Groom. Oh, what a play. Where did that one come from?
I don't know. I never saw Lois Grooms make no catch before.
Would you believe that? A third-year man out of Tennessee Tech, all the time a defensive end, and he's in there on the offense to catch a touchdown.
Last week, the Cardinals won that ball game primarily because of a fake field goal in that game.
Why, Henry Stram...
He learned something. Look at old Henry Strutt. Look at Henry Strutt.
Dave Elmendorf arguing with the officials. The Rams are furious, perhaps over the New Orleans alignment. Elmendorf quite outspoken. Chuck Knox hollering from the sidelines on the far side of the field. But the Rams have been burned on a touchdown pass to Mr. X.
You got it.
And Rick Zorro will try to make it 17-10 New Orleans. Blanchard holds, the kick is good. And so, with 1 minute and 52 seconds left in the first half, and a wild one, New Orleans 17, the Los Angeles Rams 10.
Five on the 50-yard line!
Hey, Charlie, it was cold last night. You put in a Prestone antifreeze?
Prestone. Who needs Prestone?
Prestone? You need Prestone.
If your antifreeze is worn out or you don't have a nut, you could be in trouble. So put in a fresh fill of Prestone, too, to prevent corrosion and freeze-ups.
Prestone. We need Prestone.
Prestone. You need Prestone.
The Saints leading the Rams 17-10 on a touchdown pass to a defensive end. And Rick Zorro kicking off to the burned Rams, who are mean, sullen, and mutinous right about now.
You just don't expect that to happen to the Rams. Not the Los Angeles Rams.
Boy, they'll be looking at the game film several times to see just where Alois Grooms was prior to the snap from center. All right, Zorro kicking deep. Wendell Tyler and Jim Jodat, and it's Tyler from the goal line with Jodat out in front. And Tyler gets to the 30-yard line and falls forward to the 31-yard line. Joe Campbell, your friend and mine, making the tackle.
Hello, boy, Joe. Way to get on down there.
A 31-yard return, and there's a sad story as they bring Tom Myers to the dressing room.
He has been plagued with injuries the whole time he's been with the Saints. He is the mainstay in that secondary. Calls the defensive signals, and they will miss him. No doubt about that.
6-year man out of Syracuse. Myers survived a bout with cancer 2 years ago.
Beat the Big C, huh?
We have 1 minute, 46 seconds left to the half. The ball on the Ram 31-yard line, 1st and 10. Backs are split. Hayden will put it up. A little quick one to John Capoletti with Dennis Harrah throwing a block for him. Jackson undercut him, and he sails across the 40. The clock is still going. Capoletti staying well inbound, and now we'll have a timeout quickly to slow things down. The Rams trying to get back into the dressing room even. To backtrack, New Orleans recovered a McCutcheon fumble and got a field goal. Hayden hit Harold Jackson for an 18-yard touchdown pass. New Orleans drove 85 yards with Galbraith punching it over from the 1. There was a 36-yard field goal by Septien. And then, of course, we saw Waddy's fumble recovered by New Orleans and the touchdown pass to Elias Grooms, who finally got his name in the paper. First and 10 from the Ram 41. Hayden to McCutcheon in the air and dropped. Fetterspiel was all over him, and McCutcheon unable to hold on to it. Joe Fetterspiel, who led the team in tackles in 1975 and 76, and he has missed only one game in 6 years. So you see a lot of number 58 when you come to New Orleans.
He plays the run a whole lot better than he does the pass. Played the pass well there. In the first meeting 2 weeks ago, these teams, he led the all tacklers with 13 for the Saints in that game.
Well, we have a minute and 15. Second and 10. Hayden trying to get on the scoreboard from his own 41. Down the middle to Billy Waddy. And Waddy is caught by Chuck Christ at the 40-yard line and falls forward to about the 37, and the clock is still going.
Number 2 draft choice from Colorado. He can fly. Faster than a speeding bullet.
Los Angeles.
Faster than a speeding bullet. Watch him.
23 yards on this one, Hawk.
He just bounces, Dan. He just bounces. I love to see him. Speed like that with he and Jackson, they can give you headaches, brother. Pat Hayden cannot be faulted for that throw at all, can he? Chuck Christ closing in here. Puts the initial hit on him. Is that Ernie Jackson? He will throw his body around, bro.
So with 1 minute and 1 second to go to the half, Pat Hayden, who has passed for a 56% so far this year, is better than that today. And he has one touchdown pass, 18 yards to Harold Jackson. Hayden is 8 for 12, and he has 1 minute left to hit the end zone.
So I don't believe you could consider Pat Hayden a sleeper in any means. People were a little bit reluctant to draft him, not so much because of his size. They didn't know what he was going to do academically with the Rhodes Scholar and scholarship and what have you. He went in, I think, the 7th round, the Rams picked him up, and everybody knows the story about the World Football League. He's continued his studies in the off-season over in England, and he's about through those. He's got a bright, bright future ahead of him. I liked him in college. Gracious me. He's just a winner.
With 1 minute left to go, the Saints have 3 timeouts, and the Rams have 2. It is first and 10 for Los Angeles on the New Orleans 37-yard line. Pat Hayden talking to his coach, Chuck Knox. Hayden has had only 1 interception thus far this year, and he's passed for 4 touchdowns. He is not really a bomber. His longest pass, 46 yards. He averages about 8.
And if you remember some of the great quarterbacks, for instance, Bart Starr didn't have an overwhelming arm, but they made it up for it knowing what they could do and what they couldn't do, and Pat Hayden's one of those quarterbacks.
Well, it'll be interesting now with 1 minute to go. Pat Hayden trying to get that psychological edge back and at least go back to the dressing room even, because a fired-up Saints team recovering 2 costly Los Angeles fumbles, and the recovery and the subsequent events have given 10 of the New Orleans 17 points. Harold Jackson wide right, Billy Waddy wide left. Pollard trying to get to him. He goes down the middle, and he's got Harold Jackson, and he's finally dragged down by Clarence Chapman. Ernie Jackson thought he was going to break it up, but he got away from Jackson. They're trying to fight the clock. 45 seconds to go. That's a first down. They'll spot the ball on the New Orleans 19-yard line. They're not all in position yet.
The Saints in no hurry.
Hayden is, however, and whoops, there's the whistle.
Now, what in the world would that be?
There was so much movement, you wonder if time had run out on Hayden. "42 seconds to the half."
Explain that to us. We don't understand
It's still first down. Maybe the officials weren't ready. Now Hayden backs off again, and time is out.
Uh-oh, listen to the Cajuns come on now. Boy, they get into a game here.
That's Bobby Scott pointing out towards the ramp, trying to help the official.
I think they've got a disagreement between the two of them.
Yeah, now Hank is coming down to see.
All right, Hank, your call on now. You settle it.
17-10 in favor of the Saints. It might have been that 30-second clock. That's about the only thing we can think of with both clubs. The Saints very slowly going back to positions. The Rams in a hurry. The clock was running, and Hank probably feels that the Rams had started a play when they were not properly set.
Look at Henry. He beat him to death with that program, won't he, Ben?
Well, he was something. When he worked for CBS up here in the booth.
Tell him the story about the first game you worked with him.
Where he had to stand in order to do the game. So we both wound up standing and walking. And we did the whole season, walking up and down.
Oh, Henry.
1st and 10. And Hayden looking in the end zone deep to Billy Waddy. And he is knocked out of bounds inside the 10-yard line by Clarence Chapman.
I don't believe Billy Waddy was intensely trying to get out of bounds, surprisingly enough, but I think Chapman just forced him out.
Knocked him out.
You see that so often with rookies that just don't have presence of mind. They haven't trained themselves mentally to get out of bounds. He looked like he was trying to turn it back upfield.
The ball is on the New Orleans 9, 2nd and 1. And the Saints are leading the Rams 17-10. Hayden trying to get it even. Jackson is left and Waddy right. Capoletti and McCutcheon are split. Big rush by Bob Pollard. End zone pass caught by Jackson and touchdown. How in the world?
Now, that's professional.
He had no real estate, and he was able to get down inside the end line.
Pat Hayden doing a little scrambling back there. That dimension that Joe Namath cannot give you. And that's why he's a starting quarterback, and probably the only reason he's a starting quarterback for the Rams. But look at the job Jackson does keeping his feet in bounds. That's incredible.
He just did, and a trio of Saints thinking unsaintly thoughts. So it is 17-16 New Orleans, and Rafael Septien trying to get the Rams even. He'll be kicking out of a hole from Nolan Cromwell. It's good. So the Saints and the Rams are all tangled up with 23 seconds left to go in the first half. 17-17 tie.
Ben, let me get myself out of a trap here. I said the only reason he was starting for the Rams is because he could give you that scrambling and an added dimension. What I'm referring to is I watched Joe Willie throw the ball yesterday in practice, and he could throw it as good as ever. He just doesn't have the mobility in the pocket that Pat Hayden does.
And Hayden needed all the mobility in the world to get away from Bob Pollard on that last play, and somehow got the ball over the heads of 3 New Orleans defenders and got it into the hands of Harold Jackson, his second touchdown reception, and he would have made Gene Kelly or Fred Astaire proud the way he had those little puppies inside the back line.
And what do you think old Herb Cross is going to say about the outcome of this game so far? But his old teammates with the Rams.
That's right, and Brandon Phillips too. Willis and Mouty going deep. We have 26 seconds to the half. And Septien kicking rather short right now. Willis takes it on his 10 to the 20. To the 30, and down he goes, and the clock shows 18 seconds. A flag on the play. So 18 seconds to the half. 17-17. Remember, the Rams beat the Saints 14-7 in the Coliseum. Personal foul and the clip against New Orleans.
3 penalties on kickoff for the Rams.
If you're Hank Stram now, Alex, would you dare to go deep?
No, sir. I don't see any sense in it now. That'd be losing your poise a little bit early.
So at 17 all in 18 seconds, Bobby Scott, we will see if he just sits on the ball. The official now ready to walk out the penalty against New Orleans.
The Saints are very unfamiliar with this position being tied at halftime. They have incredibly been outscored in the first quarter, 49-7. So they're not even used to being even at half.
Personal foul and a clip, although the official's microphone is gone, so we're not sure of the guilty party. 18 seconds to go to the half. The Saints and Bobby Scott 17. The Rams and Pat Hayden 17. And let's see what Scott does now. Galbraith and Strawn, the deep man out of the eye. Scott on a draw to Tony Galbraith. And he's out across the 20-yard line, and the Rams stack him up. Galbraith, accustomed to crowds, he has 5 brothers and 6 sisters. He doesn't know what it's like to be alone. And when he gets the football, it's the same story. And with 11 seconds left, Bobby Scott doesn't want to be alone. He'll come over and talk to Hank Stram while the Rams huddle defensively. The New Orleans Saints are 1-5. The Los Angeles Rams trying to stay ahead of Atlanta 4-2. You know, everyone knows that science can split the atom, but tomorrow Jessica falls into the clutches of a society that can split human beings into 2 creatures, Alex. One good and the other evil.
I try to explain myself away that way, too.
Which one will triumph? Well, watch Logan's Run tomorrow night at 8, 7 Central. Good show.
The very fact that dog is man's best friend, that's most disturbing. Gumbo, the mascot.
What were you telling me about, it was last week, the Atlanta Falcon mascot, that beautiful bird on opening day?
Yes, sir. Supposed to fly around the stadium twice and come on back down to his perch. Flew around the stadium twice and flew out. We haven't seen him since.
A small criticism of the ball club, huh? All right, 2nd and 5 from the 21. Strawn trying to get outside Youngblood. And Jim Youngblood hits him and he fumbles, lands the cover inside the 10. They're asking for time with 2 seconds.
Look at there, the quick reaction by Dave Elmendorf.
And Jim Youngblood caused the fumble after Jack Youngblood had just missed getting him. A big break. So the Rams, who had given up 2 costly fumbles that led to 10 points, are now in jeopardy of cashing in a New Orleans fumble. Take a look.
That's what's Mike Strong. Can't get outside. I didn't see where that came loose. Could you see there?
Just as Jim Youngblood hit him and he hit the ground, and Elmendorf, coming up from the rear, just picked up the loose ball and moved it. So Hayden has 1 play, and the Rams will go for the field goal. It'll be Raphael Septien, Cromwell holding. He'll spot the ball on the 17, so he'll try a 27-yard field goal. And the Rams then would go into the dressing room leading by 3. The kick is up, the kick is good, and the Rams get the psychological edge now as time runs out. They can go into the dressing room leading, albeit barely. Thanks to the talented toe of Raphael Septien, who has kicked 2 today, so that gives him 9 out of 13 for the year. The Rams leading on that costly fumble by New Orleans.
Are you still chained to? Gotcha! The rechargeable Norelco rotary razor lets you walk away, free from nicks and cuts. Its 36 surgical steel rotary razor blades are safely protected inside 3 floating heads to give you a comfortable shave that's razor close, razor smooth, for up to 3 weeks on a single charge. The rechargeable Norelco rotary razor. It lets you walk away from gotcha.
10 years ago, no one knew me. I was part of the famous no-name defense. Then we built our reputation by being fast. Now, I don't want to lose that. I drink light beer from Miller because it doesn't fill me up, has a third less calories than a regular beer, and it tastes great. Now, everyone knows me.
Hey, I know you. You're